Hello, my name is Drix and I have been a GM for over 6 years, and I love Delicious in Dungeon. Delicious in Dungeon, or what I will be calling for the rest of this video, Dungeon Meshi, completed in September of 2023, and the announcement of the anime adaptation came the month after, in October 2023. It is one of my favorite pieces of literary fiction of all time, displaying a world that is as cruel as it is whimsical, as grounded in reality as it is fantastical, and as gruesome as it is delicious. Dungeons & Dragons, a possible inspiration for the series given the author, Ryoko Kui's love of Western RPGs, she definitely ended the series early just to play more Baldur's Gate 3, yep, is a conflict-focused storytelling and role-playing game beloved by many across the world. I'm here to talk to you about the following. Gross liberties of consideration, what one event in the story is grounded in D&D or grounded in Dungeon Meshi. Character matters, how much they progress their own stories and their interactions between each other. And what you can do to make your D&D more like Dungeon Meshi, or what Dungeon Meshi did that was already like D&D. The last one will be fully homebrew rules, explanations, and recommendations, along with their own pros and cons. To start out with the video essay, I'll be going over a surmisable summary of the story and adventure, at least pertaining to Chapter 1. The first hook of the adventure is that if you kill a mad wizard in the bottom of a dungeon, you win a kingdom. Hooray! An entire adventuring ecosystem has propped up around the town closest to the dungeons, and we find our characters are but one of the many parties that go down into the dungeon for treasure and the thrill of adventure. The party consists of Laios, the human fighter, Chilchuck, the halfling rogue, Marcille, the elven mage, Shiro, the human fighter, Namari, the dwarven fighter, and Fallen, the human cleric. First encounter we see them fight in the series is against the Red Dragon, who immediately beats down on the characters till almost everyone is unconscious or barely standing. A full, total party kill. All the while, Laios laments how weak they seem, having not eaten anything due to a lack of rations. His sister Fallen immediately shoves Laios out of the way of the dragon's attack while he is distracted and gets eaten by the Red Dragon. The effective death of a character due to going too deep and without enough supplies, so the party was not at their full strength. Kicking off the main theme of the story, doing what you can to live and survive. In her last moments, Falon redirected the attack to herself, and while on the brink of death, having been bitten at the hip, cast a spell of Word of Recall to send the rest of the party back, sacrificing herself for their safety. Teleportation in D&D allows casters to remove themselves from any grapple or restraining effects, such as the dragon's bite attack, so it's likely the spell failed for story purposes and the overall stakes. After the party are safely teleported away, they reconvene on the surface in a grassy meadow nearby the town and learn that 1. Shura and Marty have left the party, leaving only 3 remaining. Probably IRL, some players rage quitting after the total party kill. Number 2, all of their extraneous equipment, such as stuff they weren't holding, like backpacks or other items they must have taken off to not have a weight penalty during combat, was left in the bowels of the dungeon with the Red Dragon, as Word of Recall does not specify taking equipment worn or carried alongside them. An obvious failure of the wording of the spell, as many other high-level teleportations specify the matter of taking equipment. And of course, most of the party have all of their clothing or armor on, other tools such as Laios' sword, Marcille's staff, and Chilchuck's thieves' tools. Number 3, they need to rescue Falon's body, as resurrection magic exists in this world, but hopefully they can find her body before it is digested by the Red Dragon's stomach, and they are gambling that it might have gone into hibernation after their fight, slowing the digestion process. The biggest problem on all of their minds, knowing a trip back down to where the Red Dragon is a grueling trek through the dungeons of at least 8 days, and they have no money for food or other equipment, which they could have purchased at the town. This is where the largest aspect of the story comes in, as it is decided they will eat monsters they find in the dungeon in order to not worry about the weight in purchasing a ration slowing down their trek. Their first meal is made by Senshi, a dwarf chef and the latest addition to their party, probably a replacement character by another player, as he finds common interest with Laios, who was attempting to cook a scorpion and a walking mushroom. They combine their resources and make a hot pot dish out of all the ingredients, and establish their new party composition, ready to go into the dungeon and defeat the Red Dragon. In the first episode, most of them aren't fully explained beyond their class and race identity, an introduction to potential themes that will continue to be played within the story's context and progression of it. The only focus draws on Laios, who acts as de facto human failure leader of the party, coming off on what is effectively the largest disaster in his adventuring career, being the loss of his sister, party resources, and party members. He has been placed in conflicts which pushes him to the brink. In this world where monsters eat people, people eating monsters is a form of taboo, so much that his prized possession is a book of monster cooking, which has been confirmed to not even be real, but a fake Polish book of information by an author who really just imagined what cooking monsters is like based on other animals. If not for the support of his two adventuring allies and the new support of Senshi, the story's challenges would probably be too great for this group to overcome. Laios himself, however, is no slouch. He is the epitome of what makes a great fighter, his experience and knowledge on how to overcome his opponents, as shown when he easily catches the scorpion without harm to himself, and learning that cutting downwards on a walking mushroom is much more effective. As the series goes on, Laios' knowledge is so effective that it is imparted onto other characters, while Senshi acts as Laios' mentor for gaps in his knowledge. Going back to the first battle of the series, it is likely exhaustion from lack of meals set in some sort of penalty during the Red Dragon fight, whether to attacks or to their HP maximum. In the world of Dungeon Meshi, ensuring a clean kill usually comes from the character's skill and tactics, not by luck and by battering down meat points of hit points, sacks of hit points, if you would. We could see in the fight versus the Red Dragon that most weapons are ineffective against it, likely indicating a high armor class, and it used its fire breath to add fire vibes to the combat arena, rather than specifically blasting any one character. We learn later in the series that their party has fought and killed dragons before, so it is not a matter of it being a challenge equating to the party's level or luck, but to their overall health and stamina. A given D&D party does not want to fight at the back foot, especially against tough opponents, without a full long rest, full resources, and a full HP bar. Dungeon Meshi argues you must also have a full stomach. When you might be running games, consider if you want to run with a style of attrition by sending smaller encounters, combats, traps, or mishaps to whittle down the party's resources before their big fight. Or if you want to run against full power, fully long-rested characters against the one big fight, it is also a valid option. This is a topic much larger than the scope I've been mentioning here, so I'll leave it off for another time. I've been talking around various things that are pretty obvious up to this point, so I will now make a mention of the main theme and gameplay challenge presented by Ryoko Kui to her characters, which is the importance of eating food during an adventurer's career. Food and rationing mechanics aren't wholly things considered widely important in a given D&D game. After all, there are more important things such as story arc, combat theaters, and roleplay encounters. As a whole, this is due to the proverbial death of the third pillar of play, exploration, which involves overland or dungeon treks as well as foraging or having enough food to sustain the trek. In Dungeon Meshi, the characters begin with little resources, having to be forced to play with the systems involved in the main themes, which are scavenging and hunting inside of the dungeon. While there isn't anything fancy like things that given lizard folk can do in an hour, hunting monsters to eat them is a pretty novel concept that really requires a cultivated list of edible creatures by the storyteller, as some monsters like undead just wouldn't be appealing on your plate. In Dungeon Meshi, the characters aren't slaughtering every monster that breathes to take their loot or fill their guts due to the weight limit it would impose on their current adventure. More weight and exercise means more calories get spent. While there isn't a good one-to-one example for realistic calorie expenditure in either D&D or Dungeon Meshi, it's a good enough story reason to hand-wave mechanics like encumbrance or carry limits. When you may be running your games, consider how important rationing or meals are to your group's narrative. Are they in a big city or forest where food is plentiful that doesn't merit scavenging mechanics? Or does each hunt of a powerful monster net a boon from eating their dish keep the party going against greater and greater threats? Does even eating monsters grant a benefit beyond not risking hunger or exhaustion? With the end of Chapter 1 titled Hot Pot, I will now wrap up my essay with a nice conclusion. Here's a list of homebrew rules or recommendations to get you started on modifying your D&D table with the concepts talked about so far. Monster knowledge and weaknesses. Story trumps spell. Swap target reaction or character relationship bonds. Ration and resting mechanics. Gathering and scavenging mechanics. Overall, this chapter has a 7 out of 10 rating for me. It lands the hook quickly, sets up the stakes, and then presents the main challenge, goal, and tribulations the group will have to overcome from here on out. We don't learn a lot about the world or the characters beyond surface level, which are both something Ryuko Kui excels at during further chapters, which is better for pacing than hitting the audience with a massive exposition dump at the very beginning. Thanks for watching, and remember that if it is alive, we can eat it! If this was something I were to continue, the next chapter would be about discussing what the party stats are in a 5e context, not their class features or other hypotheticals, as well as added dimensions to their characters whenever we see a roleplay or banter occur. I would also be interested in doing deep dives in the Overlord series, so if you have suggestions for media to D&D content like the D&D movie, Honor Among Thieves, Record of Lawless War, or anything else I may not have heard of, I would love to check it out. If you want to hear more about my tangents, rants, or suggestions for D&D 5th edition mechanics, or the homebrew I create, you could read stuff I publish, and if you like it, why don't you throw me a couple coins at my Ko-Fi? I make no promises on being able to publish or release video content on a routine basis. This video is more or less an experimental prototype of what it might look like, and I do it generally just for my love of both series. I hope you too walk away with some new creative concepts or ideas in mind. Cheers! Trigger, please let me voice in Dungeon Meshi. I swear to God. Here's my voice for Laios. Oh, I'm Laios. I need to save my sister. She's been eaten. Please let me save my sister. I love monsters. Here's my voice for Chochuk. Hi, I'm a halfling. Or you can just call me Chochuk. You can just call me Chuck. I'm chill. I'm chill Chuck. I'm not very chill. This is my voice for Senshi. Monsters are very yummy. Malnutrition is deadlier than monsters. Malnutrition is scarier than monsters. Eat well, sleep well, and exercise, and you too will become a Pogger's adventurer. Senshi. Dwarf. Here's my voice for Marcial. Hey, Laios. Hi, Laios. I don't think it's a good idea to be eating all those monsters. Laios, you fool! You should not be eating all those monsters. I'm giving you a tummy ache. Said on me, but no but fireball! Here's my voice for Fallon. Laios, please let me eat monsters too. Laios, big brother Laios. Here's my voice for Shura. Oh, the dragon's been too dangerous. Here's my voice for Namari. Laios, I don't see why we had to go fuck around with the big monster. What was even on my head at the beginning? Laios, I swear to God, you should have packed a better weapon if we were going to fight such a creature. And Delicious in dungeon. Was left in the dungeons was left in the bowels of the delish. Will they find the deliciousness in the dungeon? With the end of chapter 1 titled Hot